Welcome 7th graders to this screencast on our first mini-Q this year, which is titled Early Jamestown. Why did so many colonists die? Now note here why this is in big bold letters. This is going to be the topic. This will be the question that we will have to answer when we are done examining a group of documents, and we're going to have to answer this by using the documents and our knowledge of social studies to answer why so many people died at the Jamestown colony. The title suggests that a lot did die. It's not a question of answering did a lot of people die or did not a lot of people die. The question is pretty much stating that many did die. Our task is to answer why did so many of them die. And if you look at the picture here, this is going to give you an example of the early settlement at Jamestown, which was established in 1607 by the Virginia Company. A little overview will appear at the bottom of each of the mini-Qs that we do this year. So follow along. In May of 1607, about 110 Englishmen arrived at the mouth of a great bay on the coast of Virginia. It was to be the first permanent English colony in what is now the United States. The first years of settlement were not easy. This mini-Q asks, why so many colonists died? So again, your task when we are finished with this mini-Q is to answer this question, which also is the topic, the main topic question of the mini-Q. Why did so many colonists die? The mini-Q consists of, as you can see, 5 documents, documents A through E. Document A is going to be a document that talks about Jamestown's environment and looks at some of the struggles that were faced by the early settlers. Document B will address rainfall or lack of rainfall really in Jamestown and how that affected early settlers there. Document C will look at the occupations of the first groups of settlers that arrived. Document D will talk about the grain trade with the Powhatan Indians, which was the Native American tribe that lived in the area in which the English settlers took root. And the final document will talk about the chronology of English mortality. Document E, a couple of important vocab words here, chronology of English mortality, which we will talk about as we move forward. So let's move to page 47 on your mini-Q. Page 47, the second page in, is going to be our hook exercise. All of our mini-Qs will begin with a hook exercise, which is designed to kind of get you, pique your interest in the topic at hand. And as we say here, the hook exercise is to create some interest in the mini-Q. And once we watch this screencast, once you watch this on your own, when we get back into class, we're going to break into pairs or groups of 3, and we're going to give you about 5 minutes to examine the map and discuss the questions. Then we're going to take a few minutes to process the answers with the whole class. Now, each mini-Q that we do, we'll start with a hook exercise. Let's take a look at the top here. The hook exercise title is Jamestown, and the directions will be to examine the map and with a partner discuss the answers to the questions below the map. Be ready to share your thinking with the class. Each document that we look at will have a source, an attributed source, and the source for this particular map is going to be a map that was adapted from a book called A Land as God Made It, which was written by James Horn in 2005. The title of the map is right above the map. It's Principal Powhatan and English Settlements, 1607 to 1611. And if you look closely at the map, over here on the right-hand side, you have what's called an inset map, which basically shows you the area in North America that this larger area is from. If you look here, it is in the Atlantic coast, the mid-Atlantic coast of North America, south of New York and south of Jersey, here in the Chesapeake Bay area, and we're going to be talking about the Jamestown settlement. Now, a couple of important things here to talk about. Look at the map key here. You've got the scale of miles here. You've got the compass rose with north showing you true north. And the map key here on the bottom left has these black almost like huts or almost like wigwams or tents. These black markers represent separate Powhatan settlements in the area. The triangle here represents the English settlement, and the English settlement is located right here at the point here that sticks out on the James River, and the cross area represents the English fort, which was established right there as well. You will notice, and this will be important as we go through the mini-Q, you will notice that there are a lot more Powhatan settlements from 1607 to 1611 than there are English settlements. And we'll find out what that means as we go through the mini-Q. A couple of important points. The term Powhatan was used by the English in actually 3 different ways. The tribal name, Powhatan, was the name for all of the Indians here in this area. The English used Powhatan to describe all of these different groups that lived in the area. The name of the village where the Powhatan chief lived was also called Powhatan by the English. And finally, the third usage of the term Powhatan, it was the name given to identify the Indian chief as well. They called him Powhatan. The chief's actual name was Wahunsonacock. 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 So as you're watching this screencast, just be aware of what's going on the map, and when we break into small groups and classes, when we next meet, expect to spend some time answering the questions underneath the hook exercise and then sharing your responses with the rest of the class.